Very warm welcome to everyone. And basically, when I was playing tennis and when I came back, I was doing the analysis of my own game, where I was playing good as well as the places of the points where I was struggling, and I was able to identify certain things. I'll come to that later, but while I was thinking about it, I just simply came up with an idea that why not I simply create a series in which I share some step-by-step useful guides and tips for you people to try out on court. Should not be something limited to just these videos that you will be watching, but it should be practiced, and only then you will be learning a lot from all these tips and tricks that we'll be discussing. And basically, I will certainly say, as I'm not teaching you as a master or a professional coach, rather as a student of this game, and we'll be learning this thing together. So lesson number one that we all tend to, let's say, forget is identifying our own position, stance, and basically identifying whether we are right eye dominant or left eye dominant. Now this is something that we generally overlook, and even sometimes the coaches are also not that much interested into this thing. But a good teacher is the one who teaches a student according to his or her idiosyncrasy, uniqueness, and style of playing, because every player has his or her own different style. No two people can have the same style, which is why we have single-handed backhands as well as double-handed backhands. So now coming towards the first point that I have just mentioned, we're going to identify whether we people are right eye dominant player or left eye dominant. So why are we discussing this thing? I'll come to that later. But basically, the first thing that you people have to identify is knowing your dominant eye. How can you know about it? Basically, what you can do is to simply, create this triangle. First thing, this is the triangle, and you have to bring some object inside this thing. For you people, let's say if I go at a side and you people have to focus on something, let's say supposedly in your case you would be able to see, or even let me bring this dark spot. I guess you are able to see it now. So in this way you can simply think of anything that you can simply bring within this triangle that you have just created. And once you have brought some object, let's say over here in this case you have brought my face, let's say, within your two hands of this triangle that you have created, then try closing one eye and then the other eye, one eye, and then continue looking at the same face or any object that you have simply brought within this triangle. When you have closed the eye, let's say if you have closed right eye, and even then the face or any object that is there between these two things remains at that same point, then that means that the eye that is still open is the dominant eye. Whereas if you have closed the right eye and the image or that object which was there at the center has now shifted its position, that means that you have simply closed the dominant eye, and that is the eye that is basically creating the main image, and the other eye is playing the role of being a supportive eye, that is creating a supportive image for the main image. So the right eye is basically creating the main image. So you can do this experiment multiple times. You can mention it in the comment section also, the kind of object that you have tried to focus, and even in case you are still confused how you are supposed to do it, so let me simply show you the actual position through which you have to do it. That is how you will be simply standing, and then you're going to simply create this thing, and then anything that is in front of you, anything that is at a little distance, it could be anything, you can place a racket or any ball or anything, just bring it like this, and then first close this eye and see whether the image is there or it has simply shifted its position. Then try it with the other eye, and then you would be able to identify that the eye with which the image has simply shifted is the dominant eye. That is how you're going to identify the main eye. Let's say if you have identified the eye, then comes the next thing. In case you are a right-handed player. A right-handed player. So a right-handed tennis player, if he or she has right eye dominant, then he cannot simply have a closed stance. This is a closed stance. Let's say if a ball is hit towards you, you are getting ready. So you cannot simply have a position something like this, because in this way you will be looking at the ball from your left eye, which is of course not the dominant eye. So you will be seeing some sort of fake image. You won't know the actual position of the eye, because the actual position of the object will be determined by the dominant eye, which is the right eye in case of a right eye dominant player. Therefore that player has to somehow have a semi-open stance. That is how he is supposed. This is a closed stance and this is a semi-open stance. So in this way the right eye will also get the opportunity to identify and focus the object that is coming. Let's say in case of tennis, the ball will be coming and you would be able to easily see it if you have an open stance with the right eye dominant player. In case you are a left eye dominant player, which means that the left eye is creating the right image, then you can have a closed stance. You can stand like this and you can simply hit the ball, because this is the eye which will be telling you that the actual distance of the ball is this. That this much distance is there between you and the ball. So you will be seeing the real ball, the real image of the ball, and you would be able to prepare yourself and there won't be any lag and you won't miss the ball. So this is the basic thing that you have to identify. In case of a left-handed player, everything reverses. For example, if you are a left-handed player like Rafa, and if you are a right eye dominant player, then you can certainly have a closed stance and you can simply hit a forehand. Whereas if you are a left eye dominant player, a left eye dominant left-handed player, then in that case again you need to have an open stance. You cannot have a closed stance, because in this way only right eye will get the opportunity to see the ball and there will be big chances of you missing the ball, not seeing the actual ball that is coming towards you. So this is the basic lesson that you need to identify. First, do this experiment, work on some object, put a pea cap or tennis ball can or racket or anything in front of you, focus and identify which out of these two eyes is the dominant one. Once you have identified, then determine whether you need to have an open stance or closed stance. All the best. And do share also, once you have identified whether you're an open stance or closed stance, you share it in the comment section. I would love to check out the diversity of the tennis players that are watching this video. Take care.